I have 3 books here that I think should be on every creator's bookshelf, and in this video I'm going to talk a little bit more about them in depth and tell you why I recommend them. Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. So as some of you may or may not know, I'm a pretty creative person. In addition to making videos here on YouTube, I also like to do graphic design, I do blogging, I do crafting when I have free time, I like doing collaging, but being a creative person can kind of be somewhat of a solitary experience. There's risk, imposter syndrome, there's doubting whether you're good enough, talented enough, and that can be kind of isolating and intimidating. So I tend to gravitate towards resources, whether that's blog posts, videos, or books like these, that really address the nuances, the ups and downs of the creator's journey. I'm going to talk about each of these books in a little more detail, but if I had to sum up in 1 or 2 words each book, I would say this one, Big Magic, gives you a hug. This one, Craft a Life You Love, gives you permission to go play in the sandbox and just have fun. And this one here in the middle, Do the Effing Work, basically gives you a swift kick in the butt. So starting off with The Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. Now you may recognize her name from the movie Eat, Pray, Love. She wrote the book that then got adapted into the movie that Julia Roberts starred in. But what you may not know is that Gilbert was a writer for many years before she hit it big with Eat, Pray, Love. And in this book, she chronicles those early days, the journey of rejection letters and self-doubt and imposter syndrome, and gives words of encouragement to other creatives out there to basically keep going, don't give up. She really does a good job of validating a creator's experience through telling her own stories. One of the blurbs on the back of the book here I think sums it up best. It reads, Gilbert shares intimate glimpses into the life of a world of a famous creative, complete with bouts of paralyzing fear and frustration, in an attempt to coax the rest of us into walking through the world just a little bit braver. I think I learned of this book through Gilbert appearing on a podcast, and so I went and bought it, and I'm not a big reader, but I blew through this book in one weekend. That's how much of an easy read it was and how engaging. One thing I really took away from this book was the idea of creative inspiration living independent of yourself. Rethinking that that idea is meant for you to tell or share or express. And one other nugget that I took from this book, although there are several, is about persistence. And she writes a lot about all the rejection letters she got as a beginning writer. And she said with every rejection letter she got, she just used that as motivation to keep going. Next up is Craft a Life You Love by Amy Tangerine. So I was introduced to Amy Tangerine through my participation in this thing called Well University, which is part of another passion I have, which is Planner World, paper planner. If you ever heard of like memory keeping, things like that, Amy Tangerine's products is something that you've probably come across. So a couple years ago, she wrote this book, and it is kind of part book, part workbook, and she shares her own journey of being a creative, and also gives tips and suggestions for how the reader can help facilitate more creativity in their own life. And doing that kind of by giving them permission. In fact, there's a whole section in here called Your Permission Slip. She tells a story in here about how her father was a professional engineer, but how during his spare time he liked to make furniture. It was a hobby for him, something he wasn't going to quit his day job and open up a furniture shop. But she saw as a young girl how much joy when he would go into his workshop and make furniture. And that resonance of joy and freedom and creative output really stuck with Amy, and she knew she wanted to make sure that she would find a way to nurture her creative interests. Now obviously she has built a business around a lot of her creative aspirations, but during the talk that she gave that I watched, she made a point of saying that she still makes time to prioritize hobbyist activities in her life, and that have nothing to do with her creative responsibilities as a business owner and entrepreneur. And I think that's really important. I think that everyone should have a hobby or something they enjoy doing that's separate from their home or work or office responsibilities. I highly encourage it if you have been just waiting, for someone to tell you it's okay to go finger paint or play with clay, just make anything. Maybe check this out, and I will link all these books and resources in the description box below. I'm sure you'll be able to find online resources if you don't want to go the full step of buying the book. I just really appreciated her approach, and it's something that I had not come across yet at this point in my life, so I wanted to share. Which leads me to the last book I want to talk about, and I also never thought I would come across a book like this. It's called Do the Effing Work. Now, I came upon this book just by happenstance. The Amazon bookstore got me. I went in to return one item, and as I was about to leave, this was sitting on a shelf, and it immediately caught my eye. Fun fact about me you may not know, I do love a good curse word, or to be more specific, a string of curse words put together. So the title of this book definitely jumped out at me. Additionally, I really loved it because it's very graphical. I love graphics, I love fonts. I thought, wow, this is really cutting through the bullshit. They're not pulling any punches here. So two of the guys that wrote this book, Jason and Brian, founded a company in 2010 called GFDA. And as they write, after their 10 years of experience, they decided to put this book together to share what they learned. They write, "We've spent our careers creating content, merchandise, presentations, and workshops that inject a heavy dose of reality into the creative process. Some people sugarcoat the truth, we dip it in hot sauce." I mean, how can you go wrong with an introduction like that? And what I love about this book is it really touches on every aspect of being a creative. Everything from insecurity about not being liked, to procrastination and wanting to give up, to fears of failure, and then, just executing, finishing the job. And while inspiration and those, aha moments can really feel magical and beautiful, like Elizabeth Gilbert writes, they come few and far between. And in between those moments is a lot of just really hard work. So when I'm feeling down or a lack of motivation, I crack open this book and I'm reminded about some of the fundamentals, not only of creativity, but of life. As for the use of profanity in this book, the authors write a little disclaimer on the back that says, "The outside of this book is censored because profanity is supposed to make people uncomfortable. The inside of this book is uncensored because creativity is supposed to make people uncomfortable." So if you're a creative who loves a naughty word or phrase as much as I do, I encourage you to check this out. These authors have also built out a website that's a companion to this book that offers additional inspiration, insight, and some good old-fashioned tough love. So yeah, there you have it. These are 3 books that I think should be on every creative's bookshelf. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you have a book about creativity that you'd like to share, please leave it in the comments below. I'd love to have the conversation continue. In the meantime, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to be notified of more content I post. And until next time, thanks for watching. Bye!